After a 2-year sabbatical from Formula 1, the legendary Fernando Alonso says he's loved every minute of his return. Fernando Alonso in 2021 marked his return in Formula 1 with Alpine and had a terrific second half of the season, including a podium in Qatar. For the first time since 2014, the Spaniard got to the podium in an F1 Grand Prix. And now, Alpine is aiming for an upward climb from here. But talking about his return in F1, Alonso is more than delighted. I think at the beginning of the year things definitely weren't easy for us. In my case, getting back to the sport, I wasn't 100% ready and confident to push the car to the limit. The season overall has been fantastic to me. Honestly, I'm super happy to come back into F1. I enjoyed every single race, on track, but also off track. I was happy and I enjoyed every second. I enjoyed my best season since 2014. I think in terms of points and positions, definitely a good comeback I think. For sure, more prepared for 2022. And Alonso has warned the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen that he will be a force to be reckoned with next season, after admitting his 2021 pre-season plans were marred by a biking accident. The two-time world champion suffered a fractured jaw and needed 2 titanium plates fitted after he was knocked down by a car turning into a supermarket in February this year. Alpine admitted he would have a short period of complete rest before progressively resuming training after he was discharged from hospital in Switzerland. Pre-season testing began in Bahrain on March 12th, with the 2021 season's opening race following at the same venue on March 28th, something Alonso felt hampered his comeback preparations. I was planning to have a different preparation next year, but not because the car will be different, because I think the cars will be very similar in terms of driving and forces and lap times, etc. But just because this winter I couldn't do a proper preparation after the bike accident. I was just counting the days to go to Bahrain, and it was just on time to go to Bahrain, but not with a proper physical program. So this winter I want to do it a little bit more. While Alonso at the age of 40 is aiming to reconquer F1, the current world champion Max Verstappen also believes that Alonso deserves to be at the top of the grid. And there is a real level of mutual respect between both Verstappen and Alonso. Red Bull star Verstappen picked up his maiden F1 driver's title this season in thrilling circumstances, pipping Lewis Hamilton in the winner-takes-all race at Abu Dhabi on the final lap to take the championship. Spaniard Alonso, who turned 40 in 2021, finished 10th in his first season with the Alpine racing team this year, and Verstappen wants to see his F1 colleague at the top of the order next year. I'd like to see him back at the front. He really deserves it. He's a 2-time world champion. It's also really nice to talk to him and see how he thinks about situations. He also has that never give up attitude and is a real fighter. Unfortunately, in the last few years he hasn't been able to do that at the front because he doesn't have the car. But I like his attitude. He's really on fire and has the drive and motivation at his age to still be there in Formula 1, wanting to be there for a longer time. He always wants to win, he always wants to do the best. For me, it's really nice to see. Alonso won the F1 driver's title in 2005 and 2006 with Renault, and his last Grand Prix victory came in Spain 8 years ago. And Verstappen has revealed one of his biggest regrets from his time in Formula 1, and that regret involves Fernando Alonso. Back in 2018, when Alonso retired from Formula 1, Verstappen said his biggest regret is not having the opportunity to fight with a former world champion, who had been lumbered with an uncompetitive car for the duration of Verstappen's career. Verstappen's arrival in Formula 1 in 2015 coincided with Alonso's ill-fated switch from Ferrari to McLaren Honda, which saw the Spaniard relegated to the rear of the field with a car and engine package that simply wasn't up to scratch. Alonso's 4 seasons with McLaren didn't yield a single top 4 finish, with the partnership with Honda ending in acrimony after 3 years. It's a bit of a shame I never really raced against him, Verstappen said. Of course, he was in F1 when I was there, but I never really had a fight with him because he's always been in the back because of the issues that they've had, so that's the one thing I might regret. I've been racing Seb Vettel, I've been racing Lewis Hamilton, and that's been nice, but never with Fernando, where I think back in the day when I was watching TV, he was always the one really fighting them as well. So of course I raced with him, but I never fought against him, which is a shame. Verstappen's admiration of Alonso is clear, and the Alpine driver has been a major fan of the Dutchman. He said his World Championship victory over Hamilton was justice after the Red Bull star enjoyed a difficult 2021. Hamilton led for most of the Abu Dhabi thriller, but a crash by Nicholas Latifi enforced a safety car, with F1 director Michael Massey allowing the lap cars to unlap themselves as the race reached its final lap. As the race resumed, Verstappen overtook 7-time champion Hamilton on the final lap, leaving Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff fuming. On that final day drama, Alonso said, "That was pure luck, we have to be honest about that." On the other hand, he was unlucky so often this season. Now it's more balanced, so it's a little bit of justice. Alonso, who was famously embroiled in a fiercely competitive rivalry with Hamilton when the pair were at McLaren in the 2007 season, has been full of praise for Verstappen all season, and after Abu Dhabi said he thinks his title win was good news for the sport. "It was a matter of time before he won the trophy," he said, "and the new is sometimes more attractive than the old. A new champion is good when you see the grandstand. If Max wins one day 4 or 5 championships, a new guy will come and he will be the big attraction. That's what I feel now." Back in 2007, Alonso was the experienced driver and Hamilton was the young up-and-coming star. And maybe there are comparisons to draw from the emerging rivalry between Lewis and Max Verstappen. Although Alonso is adamant that his rivalry with Hamilton was nothing more than two drivers desperate to win and that it was McLaren's fault, not theirs, that the partnership didn't last. Lewis came into Formula 1 like a tsunami. With all his talent, all his abilities and results immediately, that was intense and that was also challenging for everybody. Looking back, and I think Lewis will feel the same, we had no issues between us, no problems, we had a very tough competition, but fair. Honestly, I think, and probably he agrees, the team didn't handle the situation. I don't want to blame Ron Dennis, I don't want to blame any particular name, but as a team and management we were too young, we were too ambitious and nobody guided us in a way. Whilst we await confirmation on Hamilton's plans for next season, we can all be hopeful yet another enthralling title race that Fernando Alonso is hoping he can have a much bigger say in. And maybe Verstappen will finally get to have the opportunity to race Alonso at the front of the F1 grid.